Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bartel's Money Talk. I'm Johnny, and today we have Mr. Richard Friesen.
Friesen, like a
Friesen, okay.
freezing.
Oh, Friesen. Oh, see, I messed it up. Friesen, okay. And we actually kind of freezing here where I am right now. So, Mr. Richard, could you please introduce yourself and kind of give us a little background?
I grew up, I was born in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, grew up in Kansas, and then moved to California for most of my adulthood. I've been a glass blower in my original career. I was a commodity broker with Merrill Lynch. I was a floor trader, yelling and screaming. They don't have them anymore, but you saw the movies of
Oh
people
yeah.
for. I did
Oh
that
yeah.
for almost 20 years, and
Wow.
director of the Pacific Stock Exchange. And now I'm working with clients who want to improve their rapport with money, wealth, and meaning.
Wow. So you have a lot of diverse backgrounds dealing with money.
I do.
Wow. So let's dive in then because I think hopefully the audience will find some value in our conversation here today. So one of the things that I noticed is you talked about rapport and how does our culture impacts our rapport with money. So when I seen that, I was like, man, how does that work? So could you talk a little bit about that, Mr. Richard?
Sure. We've had a cultural shift. And the cultural shift is one where, on the left side of the political spectrum, we look at money as an end product and we see how unevenly divided it is. And as a result, there needs to be some sort of redistribution. And there's a vilification of people who are wealthy. So if you grow up and the parents say, "Oh, those rich bastards, what they're doing," or "What's the boss is an asshole," and you grow up with the kind of the that people with money are just bad. That gets internalized over the years,
Mhm.
or you go to college and you learn uh, postmodernist theory about money and wealth and culture. And as a result, when you go to work or you go to make money, that internal contradiction becomes a psychological kind of a like bulls bashing against each other. And as a result, you don't have the rapport to just let your energy flow.
Mm, So now again, you've been had a lot of diverse backgrounds, and I'm sure. Can you give an example of something? 'Cause I'm sure you've seen it before. Could you give an example of some of that? Where have you
Sure.
seen?
Sure. Like one of my clients was a really, well, he is a really nice guy. I mean, he's just a sweetheart. He cares about everybody. He tips far too generously. He gives money to people on the street. He's got quite a bit of wealth. And what his concern is that he has had unfair advantages. And even though he's creative, even though he's investing money in very profitable and good businesses,
Mm,
part of him just feels bad about accumulating money. So, one of the exercises we do in the books is changing money, the concept of money, into certificate of appreciation. So, there's an
mm,
exercise. So, for
mm,
example, Johnny, you do something for me, and I give you, in appreciation, certificates of appreciation.
mm,
And you take those certificates of appreciation, said, I delivered value to Rich. He appreciated it with certificates of appreciation, and I put them in the bank. Or if I do something for you, you give me certificates of appreciation. I go, wow, Johnny really appreciated the value I delivered, and I put them in the bank. Now, here's what's going to blow open the heads of everybody who's listening. So some of you may want to put fingers in your ears.
mm.
The more certificates of appreciation that you collect honestly and fairly, the more value you have delivered to the world. I'm going to repeat that. The more certificates of appreciation that you collect honestly, the more value you have delivered to the world. Whoa, what a powerful reframe that is. Now, for those of us who've accumulated a few of those, we can now say, okay, I'm financially secure. How do I want to make the world a better place? And then you can do it freely. But if you are accumulating money and the evil and the rich people are bad and wealthy people screwed other people to get it. Robert Reich is former Secretary of Labor under Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
And he sees the world as a one pie. If the CEOs have more, the workers have less. We need to redistribute that money. We need to tax the rich because they're bad guys. So if you have the one pie approach, if you make money, you are taking it from somebody who needs it more. And if you have a good heart, and my clients only come to me if they have a good heart, because guys who don't have good hearts, they know that they're not going to last very long with me. But if they have a good heart, then they say, oh my God, I'm taking money from somebody who needs it more. That's the one pie model. But if you look at certificates of appreciation, and it turns out we can create as many as we want, we can deliver value to vast numbers of people, and there's no end to the value we can deliver. So those certificates we collect, the more value we have delivered. And so the client goes, when he really integrated that, goes, wow, that has changed my life.
Wow. Wow. So, and this is an exercise that you do with your clients.
Yes.
Wow. So based on that, doing the exercise and they get the concept of the certificate of appreciation, then what shift does that cause them to make in their life with like money and how they, I guess, handle money?
Yeah. So then what we talked about before we turned the show on is rather than trying to make money, well, let's back up a little bit. A lot of my clients have what I call a hole in their heart. They're missing something. They're missing love. They're missing appreciation, physical touch. They're just missing a community. They're missing people they connect with honestly. And so they have this missing part. If I had a Ferrari, if I had a mansion, if I had a cabin on the lake. And so as a result, they keep trying to accumulate. And a lot of these people are really aggressive in their careers, in their business to make enough money to get the things to fill that empty space. Johnny, you know as well as I do.
Yes. That's not going to work.
Yeah, it never gets filled.
Yeah.
So I lost the original question here. I was going somewhere with that. Oh,
No,
well.
no, that's okay. I mean, because we were talking about certificate of appreciation, and my thing is, how does that shift their like mindset about money once you go through that process?
Right. So delivering certificates of appreciation and giving value to others, that helps fill the hole in the heart.
There it is. Okay.
So in other words, it's almost, for some people, I'm not religious anymore. I grew up religious, but not religious anymore. But it's almost like a spiritual journey. Wow. Imagine being wealthy, collecting certificates of appreciation as a spiritual journey and helping a lot of people out, having the means then to be more of a philanthropist or figure out what your passion is and whatever. For me, it's education. In our technology world, I see so many kids growing up with a diminished education in math, sciences, reading, and just thinking skills, and thinking how that the divide between the wealthy and the poor is just going to grow if they don't have those educational skills. So for me, that's one of the biggest things that really touches my heart and what I would like to work with.
Nice. Okay. Well, that's pretty impactful, because if you think about it, Richard, you're right. If you really appreciate something or get a certificate of appreciation to change your mindset about what you do with money, you're right. It will fill the hole in your heart, because sometimes people think money can fill that, but money cannot fill that. I mean, to me, it's just a byproduct. It's a tool that you use to do the things you need to get done, right? So yeah, you're right, Richard. I like that. I like that concept, certificate of appreciation. So also, I noticed that you talked about golden keys and what doors do they open. So I never heard of the golden keys before. So could you kind of discuss that a little bit as well and tell us what doors they open? Because I'm sure the audience would like to know that.
Okay. When a client comes to me, one of the first things we work on is the golden keys. And that first is awareness. So in fact, Johnny, you and I do that right now. Let's take a moment and just take a physiological trip from our nose to our toes. I notice my shoulders are up a little tight here. My breathing's kind of shallow. I have a cold, so my voice is a little raspy. I'm going to just take a trip, notice what I am, notice my breathing. Now I notice that my voice is lower. It's slowed down. So the first is awareness. The next is acceptance. In other words, I don't say, oh my God, Rich, your shoulders are tight. Your voice is too tight. You don't say bad person. I say, okay, that's the way I am. no judgment. And then I can ask, now, what do I want? And when I ask now what I want, it's from a higher level of what I call agency. So
Mm.
we're really reactive people. Some if, just between you and me, especially since the wives aren't here, when my wife says, Rich, rah, 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 I go,
Uh,
so, I react instantly. But if we have agency, in other words, I'll say, if somebody says something to me, I'll say, okay, right now I'm aware. I've tightened my shoulders. I've tightened my breathing. I have the feeling that I want to yell back. That's some awareness. Okay, it's okay, Rich, to have those reactions. And now what do I want? I want to be a container to allow people to have their feelings and to feel safe with me. That's what I want. Okay, so now how do I respond? So it's awareness. You can't do it without a real-time awareness. Then acceptance of it, so you're not judging yourself, and then asking, what do I want now?
So yeah, because I can think of some times that, and I guess it could work with anybody, because depending on what type of conversation you're having, and somebody say something to you like that kind of.
Yeah.
So if you sit there and say, okay, I'm aware that it just
uh,
kind of shocked me,
mhm,
and then you accept what you heard, and then how
mhm.
would you like to respond based on what you would like for how you like it to turn out, right?
Yes, yes.
So yeah, that's pretty powerful. That's pretty
Yeah,
powerful.
and it has to do is building agency. Normally, we're evolved animals, and we
Okay.
have our limbic system, and that engages in fight or flight.
Mm-hmm.
And it is possible for us as humans to develop a higher level of agency so we can be aware of those responses, not judge them, not try to stifle them. Say, okay, I'm going to let that flow through me, take a breath, but I'm a higher level agent. Now, what would I want? So, your understanding of that, I think, is really good.
Yeah, okay. And so Richard, this is my question. With those golden keys, how does that kind of impact your like financial view of things when you're handling different situations?
Right. So being a floor trader, yelling and screaming, making hundreds of trades every day,
Mm.
my initial work was originally with traders.
Okay.
And so the traders come to me with the same three or four problems that they get excited, they overtrade, they don't follow the system, they take too big of risks, they are afraid to trade or afraid to pull the trigger because they're afraid they'll lose money. So those are the biggest ones. So what I do is I will trade with them while they're on the screen with using Zoom. And let me just give you a story. There was a trader who happened to be in the San Francisco Bay Area so that
Mm.
I could actually be in the same room as him. So he said his problem is when he goes from what's called just practice trading to real trading, that he makes money practice trading when there's no real account there, but he
Mm.
loses money when he's really trading. So he says, okay, let's do some what's called, I guess it's called demo trading. So he's sitting back, he's watching the screen. He says, okay, now see this pattern here, see this going.
Mm.
That's not quite right because it doesn't have this quality to it. Now this one's kind of shaping up as interesting. Yes, okay, this is going to trade right here. Click, he makes the trade. He puts in a stop, he loses a little money. Says this happens like 70% of the time, but there's small losses. Next one, he takes another small loss. The next one is a big winner, and it makes up for the small losses. He says, okay, let's go for real trading. So immediately he leans forward on the screen, says, watch this. Those son of a bitches are out to get the trader. His jaw gets tight. I can see the blood start to, his heartbeat pound in his throat. Teeth are clenched. His shoulders are tight. God damn it, I'm going to get them. And he makes the trade, and he says, goes against him. He cancels his stop. The trade goes against him more.
Uh,
Finally, he gets out. So real time. Okay, what happened then? So the awareness, shoulders tense, heart rate up,
yeah,
breathing tight.
yeah.
Okay, so what was your experience? What was the emotional experience? And it took an hour to work through this, but my dad never respected me. He never appreciated me, and he was standing right behind me in my mind. And when I trade for practice trade, he's not there. But when I trade for real, he's there saying, you're going to screw up. You always screw up.
Oh,
So, awareness of the physiology,
wow.
awareness of the emotion, and then awareness of the quality of our thought.
Wow. Wow. So Richard, so once he identified that, how did you like help him get past it where he could actually trade to make money versus trade to lose lose money.
That's where the real-time awareness comes in. So when you're trading, anytime you lean forward, make that awareness to notice your breathing, notice everything else. And if that's the case, that you are now in your I'm going to prove it to dad mode,
Got
take
it.
a breath, stop out, turn the computer off, and go for a walk.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, because I could just picture that when you was explaining how he was relaxed doing the practice trading, but then the real trading, he just tensed up. And once he identified the root cause, now you know once you feel that way what to do. So yeah.
Exactly. And it takes practice because we have, in neuroscience teaches us, we have these neural connections, these pathways, and we call them habits. In other words, I can drive a car without even thinking about it hardly.
Yeah.
Whereas when I started to drive a car, it was, paying attention to
Oh
everything.
yeah.
So these neural pathways click in. If between you and me, since the women aren't here, if the wife says something critical to me, I got a neural pathway that just boom, goes right in. Now, so what I have to now what I say is, oh, that pathway is clicking in. What do I want? I want to provide a safe space for her to express herself as she needs, and knowing that I love her and I will be there and I will contain whatever she can. Oh boy, does that
Nice.
feel better? Which brings us to another point: is I don't work with discipline or willpower or shoulds or must. I invite clients step into an experience that feels better. So when I, as a man, provide that container for her, you know how good that feels? That
Oh yeah.
feels so much better than going, "Rah, rah, rah, rah."
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, because who want to get barked at, right? So
That's
that
right.
yeah, absolutely. I would have to agree with you on that, Richard. Wow. So thank you for kind of explaining the golden keys and giving an example, because I think that really helps the audience, and it definitely helped me to kind of understand the golden keys and how it actually opened doors, right? So that
Mhm.
that helped me out a lot. Now, Richard, I know that you wrote a book, right? And the book is called A Private Conversation with Money,
Mhm.
right? So in that book, you talk about, well, first of all, before I even go to that point, what motivated you to write this book about a private conversation with money before we even ask about the other one there?
Yeah, talking to young people who have been inundated in what is postmodernist theory. And in postmodernist theory, our belief systems are mere construct, and that we can change the world by changing the internal constructs that we believe in. Reality is ephemeral. And as a result, we can change society by changing the construct. And one of the constructs that is changing is moving away from the free market capitalist system to one that is more politically controlled, and the constructs are more politically created. And I see them having an internal conflict with wanting a job and a good career and financial security, and the left, if I may even, I don't know where you are politically, so I hope I don't offend, but
Mm,
a wokeism that prevents them from delivering certificates of appreciation because it's been redefined as money in a one pie system that creates unfairness. And that internal
mm,
conflict then keeps them from delivering value to others. So that's what my concern is, that in this current culture, the leftist swing that has gone so far is that it removes us from the reality of having to deliver value to others. And that's where I want to focus on. Now, delivering value to others isn't trivial. In other words, I don't know if you were old enough, but I remember what was in the 70s. They had, God, I just dropped the name, wish boards. There was a name for them, but you pin all the things on the board that you want, and
oh
then
yeah.
you manifest them. So I've redone that, and I've created a value board. What value on the right hand edge you put? What value do you want to deliver? Well, what I want to deliver is X, Y, Z. So what skills do you need? What behaviors do you need? And work back. Well, I need to take courses in this. I need to become an expert in this. What marketing do you need? Well, I'll need to find a marketing partner. I'll need to learn this, this, and this. And then you come back to the day, and you can see the value you're going to deliver to others, and see all the steps and everything you need to be able to deliver that value.
Mm,
Wow. And that becomes almost a spiritual journey, because it's not like I want to make a lot of money and I want to buy a Ferrari,
mm,
but I want to deliver value to others. Now, delivering value to others gives us certificates of appreciation, which means we can live a much better and wonderful life. life. There is nothing wrong with experiencing a wonderful life.
Absolutely not. I totally agree. Nothing wrong with that. So, explaining that, you had 10 keys to financial freedom. But only thing I want to do, Richard, is discuss maybe 5 of those keys. Because in the book, everyone, Richard discussed all 10, but we only gonna discuss 5
I
because
don't know if we're going to get through five.
let's do this, Richard. Let's do if we can't do 5, let's do maybe can we do
Okay.
2?
Yeah, let's start and see how far we get.
Let's go. Let's go. All right.
Okay, the most important one and the kind of the foundational one is the 3-chair exercise.
Okay.
And in this, so if I have a client in the room with me, we'll put 3 chairs facing each other in kind of a triangle. And I ask them to bring in what represents money. Some clients have brought in some gold coins, some have brought in a banking statement. One guy brought a big pile of $100 bills. Whatever it is for you, we put that in one of the chairs. You sit in the other chair, and then in the third empty chair, we put a spiritual wisdom, a guru. If the person's religious, we might have a religious symbol of wisdom there. So then I have the person look at money and have a conversation. What do you want to say to money? And what will come up with, you just leave me. I get close to you and you just move away. Or I get a little bit of it and then you take it away. So there's just a lot of anger at money. Or other person says, oh, I just love you, money. I want to hug you and hold you and I just want to lick you and touch you and oh my God. And so we go through all the different voices about money. Then we have the person sit in the money chair with the money, look back at themselves. Let's say it's Joe. Money, how do you feel about what Joe just said? Now, in the care, they will take on the voice of money. It's amazing. You don't think this will happen, but it happens every time. Hey, Joe, you just said how pissed off you are at me. And I'll say, well, are you too close or you want to get closer to him? No, I want to move back. Okay, move your chair back. It's like you despise me, you want me, you think I'm evil, and yet you want more of me. Screw you, I'm not going to get close to you. So we have this conversation. And then this is just like a small part of the possible conversation. Everyone's unique. Everyone has different voices. So then I have them sit in the chair of wisdom. What do you notice between those two? What is the dialogue? What is the dynamic? And surprisingly enough, they will actually see not just the content, but the dynamic. You know, Joe is mad at money. He's conflicted. Money doesn't want to be around him. So as a result, you know, he's not getting anywhere in his financial world. Then sit back and Joe. So Joe, what would you like to say to money now? Now all of a sudden we get some feeling. Money, I haven't treated you well. I haven't respected you. And I realize now that you and I can work together. They sit in a money chair. Money says, wow, that's interesting. That's a very different approach. I'd like to get a little closer to you. Okay, money, move your chair a little closer to him. Now we go to the wisdom chair. And this is just a compression of maybe 2 hours. So it's not this easy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm sure because you're having conversations, so I'm sure the conversations get a little deep. So
Yeah. But what then it reveals is our relationship to money. That's the 3-chair exercise.
the 3-chair exercise. So that's one of your keys. Give me one more that you have,
Okay.
and then but it's actually 8
Uh,
audience. I mean 10. So
yeah.
he's giving us a couple.
Let's oh, I have a bunch of them here. Let's do one of the things that nobody expects is what you lose when you have money. Oh, I
Okay.
won't lose anything. God, I want $1 million. I want 10 million. And I have to really push on that one. And finally they'll say, oh my God, accountants, relatives coming to me for money. All of a sudden I'm in a my friends, you know, can't afford to do the things that I want to do. I might have to lose my friends. So we go through a whole thing. And so what people do sometimes, they will sabotage themselves. You may know that half of lottery winners end up in their original net worth in a few years.
Yeah.
You know, they don't have a foundation for wealth and they don't know what to do with it. So they blow it and they can then, I'm now comfortable where I am. So that's one. Capital in our future. This is another one. I say, what if everybody had just $20 in their pocket? What would they be interested in? That's it. That's all the money they had. Food, shelter, water. Would they be concerned about children's education? Would they be concerned about our future economic system? No. Can I get
I
food?
doubt it.
Water. So the concept of people who accumulate capital in the postmodernist theory is very negative. But if you look at people with capital, they are investing in new medical systems. They're investing in Elon Musk, you know, taking civilization off the planet. They are creating new entrepreneurs. Many of them are doing philanthropic adventures that are, probably won't come to fruition in 10 or 20 years. So when we talk about capital and we talked about reallocating capital, have them do an exercise of writing out what happens if everyone has 20 bucks in their pocket, what happens if we have wealth disparity, but some people have a lot of money. So that's another one. We talked about certificates of appreciation, the money speech.
Mm,
Ayn Rand in her book, Atlas Shrugged, there's a very famous portion called the money speech about the value of money and wealth.
okay.
And I have another speech, which is more of the current cultural belief about money and wealth. And so what the exercise is, you take and you analyze the basis, the values, and the logic of both of those. That's a really tough exercise because it makes people think for themselves as versus just absorb the cultural belief systems that they're surrounded by.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I can see that being kind of tough because yeah, based on your belief systems, and it's almost like you're trying to do a mind shift
Exactly.
almost. Yeah. So that could be and mind shift, even though when you're dealing with money and depending on what culture you come from, you do have to do mind shifts to kind of get your mind to think correctly about money. Because like you said, there's a lot of things that people think that money is evil. People that have money is evil,
Yep.
but
What
that's
you're
not the
pointing out
case.
is really important, that you can read books, you can follow procedures and protocols from financial advisors, but without that mind shift, then you're struggling and fighting yourself all the way. And that mind shift is particularly difficult right now in our current cultural divide, because if you are on blue team, to start thinking independently, or if you're on red team and you start to think independently, you can lose family and you can lose friends. I know several who have lost their communication with their children because of a different way of thinking. And this is not to be underestimated, because from our clan heritage, from our evolution, if the clan threw us out, we died. So we have this need to be associated with a group. And even
Mm,
though rationally we know we'll survive without them, there is part of our survival system that says you're going to die.
right.
So to think independently triggers some of our more primitive survival skills.
Wow. Didn't think about that, but I guess, yeah, I guess it would in a sense because you're now shifting your mind to think maybe you thought something all of your life and then you got new revelation. And so now to receive that new revelation, you have to do a mind shift and your whole mindset will have to change
Yep.
to accept that new revelation that you just discovered.
Right.
So,
And when you make that mind shift, you notice different information.
yeah.
In other words, friends of mine on the red team and friends of mine on the blue team, they live in whole different bubbles. The information they receive is different. The world they believe in is different. So to make a mind shift is not trivial. But in order to feel really in rapport with money and meaning and success, very difficult if you're internally conflicted.
Yes, I like that. I like that. Yes, you're absolutely correct. Yeah, because I have met people like that that has that's internally conflicted about money,
Mhm.
because of possibly how they grew up and kind of was told about money and kind of seen some of the things about money. And then all of a sudden, somebody introduced something different, then they can't receive it because of some of the stuff that they learned along the way. And so
Yep.
they have that internal conflict that's going on.
Yeah, and it's not a really, I think, transformational to be able to view your belief as beliefs and not capital T truth. As long as you and I have capital T truth and we're really attached to it, it's very difficult to make personal development.
Say that one more time again, Richard. Say that one more time.
As long as I am attached to truth as the capital T, and Rich Friesen is the one person in the world that has the capital T truth. I know what it is. I absolutely positive that Rich Friesen is the only guy in the world that's right. I've been there. I've been there for, in several iterations of truth. As long as I believe that, it's really difficult to grow. But the challenge is to be able to face the world and say, I don't know, but I am powerful enough, I'm strong enough,
Yes.
I'm creative enough to handle, to walk into this confusion without knowing. That is the ultimate transformational step.
Yes, that is powerful because that's where you actually learn. When you do that, because you don't know, but you walk into it, that's when you really learn. So
Mhm.
absolutely. I like that. Thank you, Richard, for sharing that. That was pretty powerful. So, Richard, so if anyone wanted to contact you to kind of get some help with kind of changing mindset and going through these exercises that you mentioned, how would they reach you, Richard?
Hang on just a second. Oh, I have a cold and needed a cough there.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Okay. Email is rich@mindmuscles.com. Rich at
Okay.
mindmuscles.com. You can order the book, A Private Conversation with Money. And with it comes a free online course. So you can get the book from Amazon in paperback or audio form,
Okay.
and you can get the free online course. The book shows you how to do that. And the free online course has the exercises that we talked about today and many more.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right, Richard. Well, listen, I want to thank you for sharing your time with me on Bartel's Money Talk. And great conversation, Richard. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. And look forward to talking to you again and having us join Bartel's Money Talk. And audience, if you like what you heard, please like, share, and subscribe. And we'll be back with fresh content next week. So thank you again.
Johnny, this has been such a pleasure. It's so much fun to work with you and talk to you and develop conversations. So I am really happy with our time together.
Thank you, Richard. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Have a good one, Richard. I look forward to talking to you again.